how are the cutting angle between two planes. So this is actually an exercise type where you don't have to think a lot, but you need to have the formula in your head how to calculate it. Basically, it's not that complicated. I mean, you have let's say maybe this newspaper, which consists of two planes like this one, and they have an intersection right here, right? And so you want to calculate the intersection angle, the cutting angle here at the intersection point, right? And you just have to apply a formula, then you know the angle, and then you're finished. So you don't have to think a lot, but of course the formula is important. How to calculate the cutting angle between two planes. Just to show you the principle, we have two planes here, and the cutting angle, the line of intersection, of course you can see already, it's this black line, it's the line of intersection, and the cutting angle now is now here, right? You see it, this is the cutting angle. And we want to calculate it, and the way how to do it I show you with an example. So first we need two planes. First one I call E, this 5x1 minus 2x2 minus 10x3 equals minus 3. Second plane I call F, which is minus x1 plus 5x2 minus 7x3 equals 9. And note that both planes are given in the coordinate representation, which means when I need the normal vector, I can just look at the coefficients here and I have it. Same with the other plane, I just look at the coefficients and then I have the normal vector. So it's very easy. So I call one normal vector, okay, maybe let's say I call it n, and it is 5 minus 2, 10, minus 10, just read the coefficients, and the other one I call m, and it is then minus 1, plus 5, and minus 7. So easy. Two normal vectors now. And how to calculate the cutting angle? We need to apply a formula, and this formula you need to know by heart. Without knowing it by heart, it may get very, very difficult in an exam because you need a lot of speed during an exam when you calculate these kind of exercises. And with the formula, you just put in your normal vectors, you calculate it, you need the calculator to do it, then you know it. No problem. If you don't know the formula, I think it's almost impossible to do it within an exam if you don't know the formula. But if you know it, no problem. So we just multiply both normal vectors, take the amount, and here we take the amount and then multiply them. So n amount times m amount. That's the formula. Then we just put in our normal vectors. And maybe I can explain a little bit more because this usually students forget. Like this multiplication, students often forget how to do that. But it's just n1 m1 plus n2 m2 plus n3 m3. That easy. Then take them out. And similar in the, okay, this is different in the, here, it is n1 squared plus n2 squared plus n3 squared. Take the square root. That's the amount of n. Times the amount of m, which is m1 squared. Plus m2 squared plus m3 squared. Then take the square root. That's the formula. Now we put in our concrete values. So we have, just keep in mind our two vectors, then I can just calculate it right away. 5 times minus 1 is minus 5. Minus 2 times 5 is minus 10. Minus 10 times minus 7 is plus 7t. Take the amount and finished here. Now, n1 squared is 25 plus n2 squared is 4 plus n3 squared is 100. Then take the square root times. Now 1 squared is 1 plus 25 plus 7 squared is 49 plus 49. Then take the square root. Then 70 minus 15 equals 55. And because we have the amount, of course, we would not have to transfer the minus, right? The minus would drop if we had a minus, but there we have a plus anyway. Then we can say we have the square root of, or we can just calculate it and makes life maybe easier. So we have square root of 25 plus 4 plus 100 times square root of 1 plus 25 plus 49. And then this looks a little bit strange, but doesn't matter since we have a calculator and we don't have to care about strange numbers. So it is 98.4. 98.4, and then we can just calculate a value, which is 55 divided by the answer we just had. So it's 0.56. And we want to save that in our calculator at position A. So what we now have to do, or maybe I make it a little bit more explicit, we have cosine of alpha equals 0.56. Now the way to calculate the alpha is to take the inverse cosine. So we say inverse cosine, and then we end up with alpha equals inverse cosine of 0.56, and then we just put it into our calculator. The inverse cosine with shift cosine, and we set value as A, and then we end up with something like this. And then we would write it down, and then we would realize then when we see the corrected exam, this is wrong. Why is it wrong? Because in this task, usually in this type of exercise, the angle required is a geometric angle. If we need a geometric angle, then we have to put our calculator in degree mode. But currently, as you might see here, this is an R. This little letter is an R, so it says calculator is in radian mode. This is not what we need. So we go into mode, change to degree, then we calculate again, and then we end up with a right angle. This is a geometric angle in degree. And therefore we can say, okay, alpha, but it depends of course on the professor, what he or she says, on your teacher. Do you need a degree angle, a geometric angle, or do you need a radian angle, right? But usually this kind of exercise requires the degree angle. So we say 55 degrees. No, 56 degrees. 56 degrees, that's the solution, that's the cutting angle between both planes. So what's important to know? It's important to know how to get the normal vectors from the coordinate representation, but this is not too difficult. Come on, just look at the coefficients, and then you need to know this formula. This is more important, actually. Both is important, but this is usually the problem. If you don't know the formula, then you can't calculate it in exam or not fast enough, and this is what matters in exams. So just learn it by heart. Then you can just put in your two normal vectors, a little bit of calculation. If you have a calculator, life is very easy, and usually you need it, of course, to take the cosine of the angle. To be precise, you need a calculator, and this is how it works. Thanks for watching. Practice makes perfect. Further exercises with solutions you can find on my website, which is www.worksheets.com.